Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, California Weather Watch. Today is July 25th, and right now we are looking at the visible satellite imagery as of this morning. Southern California there, dealing with a little bit of marine layer, but not too bad overall. Kind of hit and miss there up and down the central coast. A little bit of marine layer on the Bay Area, and you can see it up across Northern California. A little bit of eddy action going as well. Interior areas, of course, much more sunshine. Let's take a look at what happened yesterday, and as we scroll through the early afternoon hours, you can see all the lightning activity, northern Nevada, northern California, back up into southern Oregon. A lot of lightning strikes. I mean, you're talking about hundreds of lightning strikes out there. So there is both the chance of some fire starts and even some excessive rainfall. I'll show you more on that here in a moment. But you can see some of that continued after the sun set. Look at Lake Tahoe just on the south side. They're getting some lightning activity. Some of these moving out over the foothills of the Sacramento Valley as well. There's I-5 right there. Didn't quite get towards I-5, but definitely across I-80. So fun stuff. Actually, take a look at that as we went through very early this morning. Maybe got towards the I-5 corridor. Spoke too soon there. But we've got the potential for a repeat here over the next few days as well. And you can see the lightning strikes over the last 24 hours makes sense with what we just looked at, of course. Taking a look at the Tempest Home Weather Station. This has a lightning detection system on it. If you were living across those areas, it would be very fun to have one of these weather stations picking up all that lightning and reporting back to you. Great smartphone app. Click on the link down below to save 10% off. So let's take a look at what is to come today. This is the high resolution rapid refresh to 12Z run. It goes out 48 hours and it updates every single hour. Other hours it goes out about 18 hours. But you can see as we go through the afternoon today, very similar setup here shaping up as we get some additional thunderstorm activity. And again, as we go through tonight, look at that, Lake Tahoe, maybe getting a thunderstorm there right around midnight or so into the early morning hours. Then we go through Saturday, kind of another repeat there, but it kicks it off a little bit further across northeast California, northwest Nevada, back up into Oregon and Idaho. And then we're going to be dealing with thunderstorm potential as we go on in towards next week here as well. Take a quick look at the smoke. This is the high resolution rapid refresh vertically integrated smoke, and you can see really it's just the Orleans complex there still producing some smoke and kind of drifting that around maybe the Sacramento Valley, some of the coastal areas as well, but not too bad overall, all things considered. Taking a look here at the current emergency incidents here. This is all the fire activity. This pink highlight here across Northern California, portions of Utah, and up into Oregon, that is the red flag warning. You know, you get some of these fire starts from the lightning there, and some gusty winds could help spread some of that fire activity. And this is that red flag warning. This is from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. today. That is Friday. See Weaverville's right there. Is Trinity Center. Here's the I-5 corridor. And again, deadly lightning, erratic gusty winds, and new fire starts. And just pointing out, there's Fort Bragg and Ukiah. There's that red flag warning sending down towards the Bay Area a little bit there. So that thunderstorm probability today, you can see we've got Lake Tahoe there, South Lake Tahoe at about 40%, Mammoth Lake's at about maybe 1 in 4 chance here, Susanville at 38%. It's nice stuff here from the National Weather Service, Sacramento. And there's day 1 thunderstorm potential. There's day 2. And let's take a look at day 3 as well. Kind of moves it off. But again, we're going to be redeveloping some of that thunderstorm activity here as we go through next week. Show you more on that here in a moment. Something interesting here. So this is the day 1 isolated dry thunderstorm outlook. And if you've been watching the channel, you know that isolated dry thunderstorms are because the thunderstorms aren't producing a lot of precipitation. So that lightning out there can really get a good chance to catch things on fire. However, there's a little bit of a contradiction going on here that I'm going to show you in a moment, as we've got the excessive rainfall outlook also showing a marginal risk in some similar areas. I don't know, maybe those individual cells, some of them are on burn scar areas or whatnot, or who knows the exact reasoning behind it, but kind of an interesting contradiction there between the excessive rainfall outlook. I've never seen it actually overlap with some of the isolated dry thunderstorm potential as well. So if we take a look here at the European and we go through today, again, you can see rinse and repeat, some of the coastal range there, Klamath, Cascades, back to down to the Sierra Nevada, all the way up into southern Oregon with that thunderstorm potential. We do it again tomorrow. As you can see, there's Sunday or Saturday afternoon. Let's look at Sunday. Again, on Sunday, the European has thunderstorm potential. And then we go through Monday. It kind of calms down a bit here on Monday, but still kicks off a few isolated showers. We go on in through Tuesday, and we got, again, kind of a similar setup as Monday there. We go through Wednesday. You see it start to increase here a little bit, maybe even get out over some of the Sacramento Valley as we go through the day Wednesday. That's because we got a bit of an upper level low that's going to be moving into the area there, and that's going to be keeping thunderstorm potential across much of California, central and northern California as we go on in towards next week. So total precipitation in inches, I'm going to scroll through this pretty quickly because you just saw where the precipitation is going to be occurring, and you can kind of see some isolated heavier amounts in there. Now, again, if this is training over the same area and there's some burn scar places out there, I can see why they might have had that excessive rainfall outlook out. Now, taking a look at 500 millibars or 18,000 feet, it's a great way to look at general ridge and trough position. Trough, you're generally looking at a bit cooler weather, convergence, clouds, precipitation. The ridge is the opposite here. Higher pressure, you're looking at sinking air, generally less clouds, warmer conditions. So I'll put this into motion, and there's our upper level low kind of hanging out here, hoping to kick off thunderstorms over the next few days. And then we get kind of a pattern change as the Gulf of Alaska trough gets reestablished. But you can also see it's throwing these little wrinkles at us here as we go through next week. That could keep some thunderstorm activity and even bring it out into some of the lower elevations, mainly central and northern California. Then we scroll off in towards the end of the week. You see the Gulf of Alaska trough still going, and we continue to get some troughing here along the west coast of North America through the extended forecast all the way towards next weekend here. But again, take that with a grain of salt. But it's kind of nice to see that. And then another deep trough swings across the Pacific Northwest, way up into fantasy land. More on that here in a moment. I'm going to compare that to the GFS just to show you guys something. So taking a look at the national blend of models, let's put this into motion. You see the temperatures relatively suppressed, still some 90s showing up by the time you get towards Sunday, warming up a little bit by Monday, Tuesday across some of the interior valley areas. Bakersfield checking in 97. You can see Modesto, Fresno, mid 90s out there. Desert areas warm up a bit here as we go through next week as well. Nothing too crazy though showing up just yet. And percent of average precipitation over the last month, you can kind of see when you get no precipitation over an area that doesn't get that much, you can kind of skew these numbers so you can kind of see how this gets kind of crazy looking. And then you go to average max temperature departure from average. This is where it gets a bit interesting. Look at the coastal areas are quite a bit below normal, and I know you don't need me to tell you that if you're living across the coastal areas. It's been kind of a chilly month here as we go on in towards July 24th. Some of the interior areas have been above normal, but overall a bit on the chilly side. Now taking a look at this, January through June statewide precipitation ranks map. So out of the 131 years on record, we ranked 47th. So nothing too crazy, kind of in the middle of the pack there for the state of California. Look at Washington though, much below average, 7th driest. And Arizona, Utah, Nevada on the drier side of things here as well. California not too bad, everything considered. But if we look at January through June statewide temperature ranks map, it's been the 124th warmest. If it was the warmest, this number would be 131. If it was the coldest, it would be 1. So you can see things have been pretty warm since January 2025 all the way on in through June 2025. Now, where are we going here over the next 6 days? Well, there is the 2-meter temperature anomaly. I already showed you the temperatures aren't going to get too crazy. Got no big heat wave right now looming in our immediate future, and you can kind of see this mixed bag of temperatures. Some areas below, maybe some slightly above, but again, the coastal areas over the next 6 days looking to be below normal. So here we go, European artificial intelligence. We got a model battle here going on, GFS on the right. Let's put this into motion and see what kind of agreement or disagreement we have. Gulf of Alaska trough gets reestablished there. And again, kind of throwing these little wrinkles here at us as we go through next week. I have to watch for that to see what kind of thunderstorm potential that will bring. We scroll off into the next weekend's forecast there, and you see we've got another wrinkle in the flow there coming across California. GFS still with the trough out over the Gulf of Alaska and some of the Pacific Ocean. So some agreement there. But as we go off into the extended forecast, look at the ridge the GFS wants to develop. This is just a monster flipping heat dome here across the southwest USA. That is ridiculous heights. That would be very warm. But you see, the artificial intelligence is not having it. I mean, maybe a little bit above normal heights there, but the trough is closer across the Pacific Northwest, and it kind of keeps an upper level low and some troughing along the west coast of North America versus this ridiculous looking heat dome that would be setting up there across the southwest USA, which would include portions of California. So something fun to look at and just something to contemplate here as we go on in through the first week of August. We'll worry about that as we get closer, but definitely something to watch. 6 to 10 day below normal, however, across California. Still a mixed bag across much of the Southwest, and near normal, a little bit of a mixed bag there as well. We'll continue to watch that over the next few days. 8 to 14 day, something similar. But anyway, yeah, hope you guys are having a good day. Otherwise, click like and subscribe. We'll do this all again tomorrow, and I will talk to you guys then.